Hello friends, this is Excel training videos. My name is Pavel, and in this video we are going to take a look at some basic mathematical formulas of Microsoft Excel. We will look how we can use three formulas to make our life easier and do some basic mathematical calculations in Microsoft Excel. The first formula is addition. The second one is extracting the average number, and the third one is division. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet on our screen. Here we can see a workload of managers of a construction company for March 2018. We can see that there are 5 managers employed, and during the month they worked on 3 different projects, which are Project London, Project Berlin, and Project Paris. And here we can see the initial data, so we can see how many hours each manager dedicated to each of 3 projects. Now first let's calculate how many of total numbers each manager worked in a given month. To do this, we can simply select 3 numbers, which are amount of working hours for all 3 projects, and take a look at the bottom right corner of the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. This section is called Cell Pointer. So here we can see that we selected total 3 numbers. The sum of these 3 numbers is 140, and the average number is 46.6. Now let's see how we can apply these calculations to our actual spreadsheet. To calculate the total working hours, we can use 2 different options. Let's take a look at both of them. So the first option is to type in an equal sign, choose 86, punch plus, choose 43, punch plus, choose 11, and then punch enter button on our keyboard. Voila! Here we can see the result of calculation, which is 140 hours. And above, on the formula line, we can see the formula itself, which we used to proceed the calculation. The second way to do the same calculation is also very easy, but the second way is more convenient and more professional. To do this, let's go to the formula line, and to the left of this line we can find a function button. Let's press this button and then highlight the needed function, which is sum function. Here we can see that sum function is activated. Now let's select 3 numbers which we want to summarize and press enter button on our keyboard. Yeah, here we can see that the total amount of working hours for manager Mr. Dmitry is 109 hours. Now we want to proceed the same calculation for the 3 other managers, and we have 2 ways how we can do this. The first way, we can choose the F7 cell pointer, press right button and choose copy option. Then go to next cell, press right button again and choose paste option. Voila! 154 hours is the total numbers of working hours of manager Mr. Malik. So that was the first way. The second way, which is much easier and much more convenient, especially when you calculate the large volumes of data, is to take this cell pointer, choose this small dot on the right right side in the bottom, and copy it down like this. So now the total number of working hours for each manager is calculated. Now let's proceed the same calculation for each project. So we choose the sum option, select the numbers that we want to calculate, and press enter button. And then we can use the same way to copy it to the right. Yeah. So now we can see that total amount of working hours which were consumed by Project London is 288, Project Berlin 158, and Project Paris 222. And the total amount of hours which were consumed by all three projects is 668. So here in cell F11 we can see the result of calculation, and here in the formula line we can see the formula itself. So this is the way how we can use the first formula, which is addition formula. Now let's take a look at the second formula, which is average. This formula we use to extract the average amount from a row of numbers. So for example, we want to calculate how many hours on average each of my managers dedicated to each project. For example, we know that Mr. Fadi dedicated 86 hours, manager Mr. Dmitry 64 hours, Mr. Malik 93 hours, and so on. And we are interested to know how many working hours on average each manager dedicated to the project. To do this, we go to the function button and highlight function average. Once this function is activated, as we can see in the formula line, then we should select 5 numbers that we need to calculate and press enter button. Then we can use the option discussed before to copy to the right. So here we can see that on average each manager in March month dedicated 58 hours of working time to Project London, 32 hours to Project Berlin, and 44 hours to Project Paris. This is the way how we can use the second formula, which is average formula. And finally, let's take a look at division function, how we can use this function in Microsoft Excel. For example, we know that manager Mr. Sylvester worked total 135 hours, out of which he dedicated 32 hours to Project London. Let's assume that we want to calculate what is the ratio of the London project in the total amount of working hours. To do this, we should punch the type in the equal sign, punch 32, multiply by 100%, and divide by total amount of working hours, which is 135, and then press enter on our keyboard. Here we can see that manager Sylvester Gomez dedicated 24% of his working time in March to the Project London. Dear friends, this is all for today. Please post your questions to this video, press thumbs up, and subscribe to our video channel to become more proficient and more effective in the colorful world of Microsoft Excel.